Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, one thing that I've been putting up a lot is these videos of different stories, and I've really enjoyed doing Bible stories, but I've always wanted to do more with this channel and talk about life and other things with the Bible and just what it's like being a missionary in the UK. So I need my beautiful wife, Rachel.
Hello.
To join me today, and as we're gonna talk about, I'm not actually sure what we're talking about. Rachel's looked up something.
I have all the things in store for Shelby. Today, I'm gonna bring up some Christianese terms.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, super fun. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that button to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And feel free to leave comments below to let us know what you think we should do next.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's get into the first
Let's
word.
do this.
Keep in mind this is written in an American perspective, so but I appreciate I don't even know who writes these actually. I need to find out. What is their name? Let's find out. Hold on. Well, I find
Tim.
Okay, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
I just felt it was so appropriate since it's totally the season.
Okay.
So let's go with Fall Festival.
Fall Festival.
What do you think of when you hear the term Fall Festival?
So when I hear the term Fall Festival, it makes me think of back at a church that I actually worked at in California that we actually met at. They started doing this thing called Fall Family Festival, which they would do instead of Halloween. So it'd be on October 31st, and it'd be kids could come dressed up, and there'd be games and candy and all that stuff. So when I hear the term Fall Festival, that's what I think. I think it's a kind of a church way to have a safe Halloween.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
So I've been looking up these terms because some of them I know since I didn't grow up in the church my whole entire life. I attended different churches, but I didn't stick to one my whole life. So let's unpack this a little bit. I'm interested.
Okay.
I've read up different things on Halloween and the origin of Halloween and different countries as well. Regard this holiday as good or bad. Most places it's pretty bad and associated with occultic practices and really dark stuff, especially in South America.
Yeah.
I've had some friends from there who talk about it. It's really just not a good thing. Even though they live in the States, they won't touch it. And rightfully so. That's their prerogative to do. Yeah, so what's your take on that, Shelb?
Well, I've always thought it was interesting because All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day is November 1st, and it was actually a celebration. It actually was historically a church celebration of celebrating the saints that have come and lived before us. And then All Hallows Eve was just this festival before it. And yeah, traditionally, the idea was on All Hallows Eve, it's Satan and all his demons are getting out, but Saints Day comes next, so they get conquered. So that's the whole idea behind it. At least if I could be wrong, but if I'm remembering correctly, that's what I believe it was. But it's morphed as most things have over the years, and now it's much more of a I don't know. It's just
it really has a different connotation.
And I've also noticed it has a different connotation depending on the US and the UK. If you go to a costume store in the States during this time, which they pop up everywhere.
Some of them are really creepy.
Some of them are creepy, but you'll notice it's just everything's just in there. So you have costumes that range everything from I'm going to be a vampire to I'm going to be Mario or whatever. So
that's true. That's true.
But I've noticed in the UK, in the few grocery store aisles that actually have costumes and stuff, it's usually just the evil things. It's not
and when we say evil, we mean blood, murdering things, ghosts,
the witches. And
just dark things.
Yeah. They would be the monsters in monster movies.
And I mean, some people enjoy. I don't know how you enjoy it, but I can't. It just gives me nightmares. I'm just not down for it. I don't do horror. All right, let's go on to term number 2.
Term number 2.
All right, so here we go. Second word. Unclaimed blessing.
Unclaimed blessing. Okay, I have to be honest. Even though I've grown up in the church, I don't believe I've heard this term before. So
that may not be a bad thing.
I'm gonna guess God blesses you in some way, but you decide to not accept it. Either it's because it's like a job offer comes your way and you're like, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't want that. I don't think God's leading me there. And it's like, that's an unclaimed blessing. I don't know. That's my guess.
Okay, so no. Don't read it. I'll tell you.
Okay.
It's a term for an unmarried woman who hasn't become married by a typical age that a woman would get married at. And so like it's the term had its heyday in like the 19th century, the end of the 20th century. So it's kind of died out for the most part. So let's unpack this. I have not heard this term either. And as a woman, it bothers me tremendously.
As a man, it bothers me.
I feel like I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on that, and then I'd like to unpack some of my own.
I mean, to me, it just sounds weird to be like, oh, you're single, you have an unclaimed blessing.
But it is used both ways, both as a bad thing and a good thing. It depends.
I guess on a positive note, it's like you're trying to tell the person they're a blessing, and people like somebody just hasn't come along to claim it yet. Like they will be a blessing to whoever they get married to. Yeah. I'm guessing that's like the heart behind it, though. It again, just I don't know. It sounds kind of weird to me because it's like, oh, you're something for somebody to get.
My perspective on this word, I have a few problems with it because really what it's touching on is marriage. But I remember feeling this pressure to some degree. Luckily, my tradition wasn't as, no offense, bad as others, where you're pressured to get married as a woman. You also have the Apostle Paul in the New Testament saying things like, I wish everybody could be single because then it'd just be you and God and you don't have to worry about this person or, no offense, I love you, or anybody else in your life. It's literally just worry about yourself and God and the things that come with it. Yeah. When you're in marriage, it's like, I have to now consider Shelby. Shelby has to consider me. It's just way more complicated. And if we have little ones, that adds a whole nother layer. Just as much as I get pressure being a woman, I think Shelby also, I speak for yourself, but I think you would get pressure too to get married as a young man.
I don't know if there's as much pressure on the male side as on the female side, but there's definitely this sense of like, oh, you grow up, you meet somebody, you get married. And it might also be just like a fact that there's an age where there's lots of people that get married, and I know I've had friends who, as other people were getting married, they were like, why am I not married yet? So I think there is also a cultural thing too, of just an expectation that you wouldn't stay single your whole life. All right, so term number 3.
Oh, wait.
Term trois.
Oh, this one pertains to us.
Okay.
Because, we have definitely used this term. We have heard this term.
Okay.
But there's a portion of it that I haven't heard of, which is really interesting being a missionary.
Okay.
Okay, it's called the 1040 window.
Oh, okay. Well, 1040 window, it relates to longitude and latitude, I believe. Or maybe
latitude?
Latitude. Latitude. Actually, longitude. No, I think it's just the latitude, because latitude's this way, right? And
yeah.
Like 10 and 40, and the idea is that the countries that are the least reached, which is another Christianese term, basically meaning those are countries that don't have a strong Christian presence there. Most of the countries that have that fit into that region geographically.
Yeah. Ping pong! He's right. Yes, it is latitude. It's referring to a window where it is the most resistant to Christianity. So
that's interesting.
So it's generally an area on the map of the world where if you go there and do ministry, it's just gonna be really difficult. It's not impossible, but it's just difficult. So anyway.
But I'm curious, what was the aspect? You said that there was something about the 1040.
Ah, right. So there's the 1040 window.
Okay.
There's also the 414 window, which is referring not to an actual place, it's referring to an age group. Saying that anyone from 4 to 14 is more likely to convert to Christianity in that age range than any other age range. And so the point is, maybe you should, oh, I hate saying it, target. It's like such a creepy thing.
Lock on target. Stay on target.
It's so like, it sounds kind of cultish. We're not. I swear we're not a cult.
You know, that's something a cult would say.
Oh, so bad. It's just like, maybe you should focus on creating relationship with that age group, because those are the ones who are actually open to talking about it.
Like, it is important to have a children's ministry, to not discount kids because they're young and say like, well, they can't understand what they're going through or learning.
That's very true.
So I think, I mean, I totally understand why you would want to make sure that you are reaching those youth, because it's also, the church is one of those things where it's like, if things don't get passed down or passed on to kids as they grow up, it can easily just be forgotten.
That's true.
We're always just one generation away from, having a generation that doesn't know who Christ is. So
yeah, that's very true. All right, so here is term number 4.
4.
It is the graveyard of missionaries.
Graveyard of missionaries. First, I think the term is referring to obviously some place where missionaries go, not die physically, but that it's a place where like missionaries go to try to do ministry, meet resistance, and they either give up or like they kind of flounder, or something happens, it doesn't work out.
Interesting. So that is kind of the modern day definition of what this is. Okay. This actually did refer in the 19th century to places where missionaries would go and physically die.
Oh, okay.
Because of disease or famine or fatal encounters with indigenous people, all those things. Obviously, with modern technology, science, we have the ability to fight diseases.
Well, it makes sense, like, because like you said, back then, well, I mean, not as much today, but back then, when you actually traveled to a new place, to a new continent, your body wasn't used to some of the diseases and stuff that was there, so you were more susceptible. I mean, this is why, when, like, the Spanish came in, and the biggest death toll on the indigenous peoples where they invaded was not necessarily what they did, but because of the disease that they were immune to that they brought into the area. Nowadays,
it is used in terms of an area where, again, they're resistant. It tends to be used towards areas in the 1040 window. Now that you all know what that means. See what I did there?
Yeah.
So, it is a little bit, I wouldn't say it's always due to passion being lost, but I would say it's due to people not seeing a change, and it's like over a long period of time. A lot of churches and traditions care about numbers, which really rubs me wrong, especially as a missionary, but so then the focus becomes how many numbers, how many people have become converted. And when that's something that you're bringing into your ministry, there's expectations, there's other things that are going on that really can hinder your ministry and hinder what's going on. This one I've never heard.
So number 5.
Number 5. Alka Seltzer Christian.
What? Alka Seltzer
Christian.
So Alka Seltzer are the little tablets you drop into water and they go. And
antacid, I believe.
Yeah, they're supposed to help with your stomach or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe this is like a Christian who like help, like when they're around people feel better because they're around this person. Like, you took an Alka-Seltzer to help your upset stomach, so when this person comes in, you felt upset, but now you feel better. They're like a Tylenol Christian.
Don't create another term. Oh my word. It's actually a little bit sad. So it's a churchgoer who attends church on Sunday morning, showing zeal and emotion, really passionate about God, and then the rest of the week they're like, they have nothing to do with it.
So the bubbly part. I was correct about the bubbly
Right.
part.
So
Okay.
the idea is that they are inserted, they fizzle out, and then they just like disappear.
Okay.
So have you heard this term in church?
I haven't heard that specific term. I've heard the idea behind the term of like you're I think I've heard it in different ways, like Sunday Christian.
Oh, there's totally loads of terms like that.
Like there's a lot of terms,
like
and a
Easter
lot
and
of,
Christmas.
Yeah.
They have a couple terms like that. Yeah.
So I think it's like I haven't heard that specific one. I have heard the idea behind it, where it's yes, these are people who show up on Sunday morning, or they show up at whatever time they go to a church service, and they seem very passionate about being a Christian. But the rest of the week, if you were to look at them, you'd be like, "Are you sure you're a Christian? You act totally different." It's like a Jekyll and Hyde type thing.
It's really
like,
sad. Or it can.
Fable also has an opinion on this. Fable, they don't want to see your butt.
Get down. What's sad is this term can also refer to someone who is like just became a believer, just basically gave their life to Christ, and they just kind of like are woo woo woo. They show that I want to woo woo woo. I love you so much. You're so fun. It's kind of sad because it means that the person never truly understood the gospel.
Yeah.
It means that they see this facade that other Christians have put forward.
It's like they got an emotional high, but there was no real substance underneath.
Yeah, it could be that. The Christian life is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not simple, it's not easy, it's not sunshine and rainbows. But there is really good things in there, and ultimately, Jesus' love is so good that you want to pursue it. It's not like no one's holding a flame under me saying work, do the things, but you just naturally want to draw closer to God, enjoy him and spend time with him. And I think you can't do that alone. You have to do that with people that you know, love, and trust.
Yep.
Have you guys heard this term? I don't know if the younger generation has, or maybe the older generation knows.
Do you know what Alka Seltzer is? That's probably a better question.
Oh yeah, I know.
Have you ever taken Alka Seltzer?
I've
never taken Alka Seltzer.
No. Actually, I've smelled it because my grandparents have used Alka Seltzer when I was younger. My late grandparents, and so I've smelled it and heard it, and it's kind of fun to watch. But I would never want to drink it.
By the time when I was growing up, and I'm sure the same thing with you, is that you had Tums. Tum to tum tum tum. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this fun little exercise of going over different Christian terms. If you have a Christian term that you'd like us to discuss, leave them in the comments. Also, while these are all Christian terms, I'm actually curious for people who maybe aren't Christians or they come from a different religion. Do any of these terms are there similar terms from something from your background? I would just be interested in hearing that.
That would be really interesting to hear your side.
Yeah, to see if there's any
what do you
overlap.
understand when you hear these things, or what pops in your mind? Thank you for watching this video, and we hope to see you next time.
Bye.